Hello everyone, thanks again for joining me. I'm Matthew with the Watty's channel, and this is going to be the conclusion of round 2 of the My Favorite LJN tournament. So, as I stated in the last video, it looks like we are going to actually push ahead 3 different characters for the final matchup. So, that way we do end up with a grand total of 30 victors from round 2. Now, of course, in later rounds, we are going to have to end up basically doing the same thing. We're going to have 15 victors from round 3, which means that round 4, we're going to have to push, the last 3 figures are going to have to compete against each other for that final slot. Now, unlike most competitions where, your semifinals are usually, 4 teams or, 4, in this case, 4 figures, with the finals being the last 2 figures, it doesn't look like that's actually going to work out in that way. So the finals might actually end up being 3 different characters, 3 different figures. I might change things around just a pinch, just so that it would be more of an even number. I thought about possibly using a Hasbro Sergeant Slaughter as a fill-in. That way, let's say Ric Flair takes on Sergeant Slaughter, for example. That way, but we would still end up with 31 victors then, and the next round we would still have odd number. And it just wouldn't work out the same way either, regardless. At least this way, we will end up with 30 figures, and at least going into round 4, we'll have 15 and probably cut it down to, probably 6 one-on-one competitions, and then the 7th competition will be, 3-figure competition, and that'll close out your 15 for round 4. But I don't want to talk too much, so I just want to go straight into the competition. And the first matchup is one that's a shame because one of these 2 figures are not going to be progressing to round 3, and I absolutely love them both. Which again, it's never easy to say goodbye to one of your favorites. So in round 1, I had Legion of Doom square off against each other. There was a possibility that they could have had maybe, Butch against Animal or Luke against Hawk, for example, something like that. But then there would have been a strong possibility that neither Bushwhacker moved forward, and both Legion of Doom would have. Unlike round 1, where I was able to basically maneuver a few figures around, that way guys like Hillbilly Jim and Jimmy Snuka and Roddy Piper, for example, the Iron Sheik. Iron Sheik was probably the best of all those figures, but, color-wise and, display purpose-wise. But as far as pose, definitely not on my list as favorites. So, it allowed me to move some really great figures like Hogan and Stud and Andre forward, Nikolai Volkov forward, Junkyard Dog forward, etc. So, when I decided to push forward round 2, I didn't do the same thing. And I'm basically having the guys score off in the order that they won the previous competition. And like I said, this is a tough one. An XOX Custom Original Animal Legion of Doom. Absolutely fantastic piece. And, again, when it comes to the Legion of Doom, I don't know why I put this on his arm for. It always seems like the Legion of Doom, regardless of what figure that they have, even the Remcos, which I absolutely hate, Legion of Doom or Road Warriors, whatever you prefer, they'll always have the best figures. I mean, I don't know why, but they get a lot of love, and I'm glad for it because I love the Legion of Doom. And with Animal, I love the little Tasmanian Devil that they put on his arm. I don't know if that's a sticker or not because it looks like there's like some kind of clear plastic sheeting over it. I'm too afraid to kind of peel at it because if it is, I don't want it to take it off the arm and ruin the figure. But the paint job on this is absolutely gorgeous. This is actually probably one of my top favorite figures based on paint alone. And paint alone, this possibly could be the best figure in my eyes. I don't know. But beautiful figure. I don't like the Macho Man / Ken Patera pose. But, I mean, again, these figures that are, made by Random Treasures, I don't think they were designed with kids in mind. Meaning that, they knew that these were adult collectors, people that had these potentially as kids. So when they design these figures, it's just mostly designed for display. You wouldn't give this to anyone to play with and run. I mean, they're just such high quality, you wouldn't want to, affect them in any way, shape, or form. Absolutely gorgeous piece. I can't say enough good things about the Animal Legion of Doom figure from Random Treasures. In this battle, he is going against Kerry Von Erich. In my eyes, just simply the Texas Tornado. Now this one is resin. Again, you know how much I love the rubber figures compared to the resin figures. I'll take a rubber figure over the hard plastic any day. But again, this is an absolutely fantastic piece. Absolutely fantastic representation of Texas Tornado. I mean, the hair is just incredible. And, I mean, the face. This is an absolutely, truly amazing piece. Again, it's very simple. Mostly just blue and white. No added markings on his shorts or boots. But because of the amount of time that the creator put into molding this figure and the perfect sculpt of the face, Random Treasures did an amazing job with Animal, but I think the Kerry Von Erich figure just goes above and beyond. It's really hard to choose one over the other because they're both truly phenomenal figures. But with this, I think I am going to have to push the Texas Tornado forward. But again, I'm just really sad to see one of my absolute favorite LJN figures lose out here in round 2. Texas Tornado over Animal of Legion of Doom. Alright, so the next battle, trying to see which one I want to go with next. Let's go with Cactus Jack taking on Sergeant Slaughter. So, this was kind of a surprise, I'm sure, for a lot of viewers. Cactus Jack defeating Sting in round 1. Sting was just another unbelievable piece with the scorpion on the pants and just, the Galoop Sting pose. Such a fantastic piece, but at the end of the day, the one little deficiency where his neck is kind of, his head's kind of off to the side and not just, right down the middle, that kind of, detracted from the overall value, to me, the overall attractiveness of the figure. It was just it was a great piece. I loved it, but I think Cactus Jack is an equally phenomenal piece. I love the way they kind of, tape or glue the championship belt to the figure. Now, they used a Lou Albano figure as a mold for Cactus Jack. I don't think Mick Foley was actually ever that big, but, I mean, regardless, the face, I just simply view him as Mankind. And this is just, I love this piece. And they just did a really incredible job. And a lot of times, Random Treasures, they separate themselves from others in the simple fact that they do mold completely different characters. They don't, I don't want to say rip off because, that's not, that's not fair. But they don't take, current figures and just, rehash or do a new paint job and call a new character. But when you see these figures, when they do, cut off the head or arms and give them, new body types, new arm poses, new faces, they did really incredible work. Like I said, people that customize these figures, they're true artists in every sense of the word. And I absolutely love this one. And he is going against a pretty tough competitor in Sergeant Slaughter. When I mention figures like Sting, Sergeant Slaughter, Ric Flair was another one, it took me several days, maybe even close to a week, to finally go ahead and make the purchase to buy these. Only for the simple fact that, when you look at these figures, all you see is the original figure that they were molded after. So I looked at the Sergeant Slaughter, all I saw was Nikolai Volkov. Had I not known about Volkov, had I not known about LJNs or whatnot, and I just saw just this figure, I would have absolutely loved this, and I do love it. But I mean, I would have been absolutely crazy about this. I mean, the boots alone are just fantastic artwork. This is an amazing piece. He's got the purple warrior belt from him and his victory over the Ultimate Warrior. I mean, the paint scheme is amazing. I mean, they even did a good job, cutting off the hair, leaving the little bald spot. This is Sergeant Slaughter in every essence. Just a fantastic piece. And even though I don't give it as much credit as it deserves, I really do love this Sergeant Slaughter character and, of course, the Sergeant Slaughter figure in general. And when you combine the two pieces, again, we're leaving characters out of it. We're going off of displayability. We're talking about playability. We're talking about colors, and both figures have those in spades. It's really hard to make a tough decision. Based on pose alone, you would think that Sergeant Slaughter would have the leg up on this competition. It's a tough one. Now this one is a little bit more representable in the face, where I don't want to say cartoony per se for this Cactus Jack, but I think it could have been done just a pinch better. But, I mean, who am I to complain? I don't have any artistic skills, and I would never in a million years be even able to, paint the pants black that great, let alone be able to do all this. So I have no complaints, and it's a tough call. But in this, I think I am going to say goodbye to Sergeant Slaughter and push Cactus Jack forward to round 3. Now, Cactus Jack, having gone against both Sting and Sergeant Slaughter in the first 2 rounds and moving forward to round 3, he's definitely gone a lot further than I would have ever expected. And I think anyone, seeing the figure would probably feel the same way. He went against 2 really phenomenal pieces and, really 2 really phenomenal custom pieces and won both battles. So, I don't know. Is he a round 4, round 5 figure? I didn't know if he'd be a round 2 figure, but hey, here he is going round 3, so we'll see what happens. I'm excited to find out. Right, Cactus Jack over Sergeant Slaughter. Let's see. Let's go with this one first. So, we do have Bruiser Brody. Again, talking about this in a recent video. Love this figure, probably... if not the best custom I've ever purchased, it's definitely near the top. I absolutely love the fact that they gave him a Greg Valentine pose. To me, that just makes it just so much more valuable, having that great, excellent fighting pose. And just, the artistry on the boots, which is beautiful, probably some of my favorite artistic representation of any boots. I mean, it's a simple figure, just a vest with shorts and... the chain, a great accessory. Again, it's not metal. It feels like it's plastic, but, you're not expecting anything. You're not expecting solid gold or anything for this chain. You look at the hair of Bruiser Brody. The overall facial representation. Love this figure. Again, among all my customs, I'd probably rate this... somewhere in the top 5 easy. When the top 5 could be number 1, could be number 4, who knows. I actually see this one when I first started this competition. I actually saw this one going very far, and having him face off against Abdullah the Butcher in the second round, this is going to be no easy task, because here's another one of those, heavy-set figures using a King Kong Bundy mold where they just did a phenomenal job. And, throwing in the fork as his hidden weapon, it's really bloody and really caused a lot of pain to his opponents. This is a fantastic piece. Just like Cactus Jack, they kind of mold or, glue or tape the championship belt, as a big hefty guy. You're probably not going to get a belt like that around his waist, anyways. And just some of the overall look of the figure. I like the little scars over his head. I mean, just overall, 360 view. This is just another piece that I'm a huge fan of. And I think I had an issue with this the same way as the others. When I kept looking at it, I kept saying King Kong Bundy, so it was hard for me to pull the trigger. And because I didn't really know too much about, Abdullah the Butcher, not until I went and watched a few videos of him wrestling, and he just became one of the more entertaining characters in pro wrestling. And he ended up turning it out to be one of my favorite figures. Go figure. One I was holding off on because of the representation. But it's a phenomenal piece, and I'm not looking forward to losing either one of these. This is one of those instances where I wish I could have rearranged my figures so that those that I truly absolutely loved would move forward. But again, a lot of the figures here in round 2, deserve to be moved forward to round 3. So, I mean, how do I choose which one that I'd want absolutely 100% in round 3? Because I've already chosen the ones I want in round 2. So, I guess any figure in round 2 going against any other figure in round 2, moving forward to round 3. I mean, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3 figures, I think Jake Roberts is probably one of those characters, one of those figures that probably shouldn't have been in round 2, let alone round 3. But I mean, other than that, these are 2 phenomenal pieces. The extra weight, again, the King Kong Bundy weight, again, makes it more valuable. I just love these pieces. Now, this is one I don't want to spend. I just don't want to say I don't want to spend too much time on it and just choose one, because this is one where you definitely have to take your time and choose. Same thing with King Kong Bundy. They didn't really change the hand positioning, so all you can really do is a little DDT. At least with the Bruiser Brody pose, mimicked after Greg Valentine. You could do a clothesline, you could throw a punch either way. You could do right arm under, or you could do left arm under, and put together a pretty good body slam. And let's see if you can actually do it this one. No, I mean they're resin figures. Both of them are actually nope. The top might be a little bit hardened. The bottom legs at least move, but this one is complete. This one's either resin or hard, or they super glued this, but I think it's resin. Yeah, that sounds like a hard plastic. That's gotta be resin. Yeah, this is. I hate choosing that, because this right here, I don't want to say there's not a wrong answer, because there could be a wrong answer, because these are just 2 phenomenal pieces. I'm going to go with Bruiser Brody. It's the toughest call I think I've had to make so far. And I just absolutely love this figure. It's just too good. And as much as the Abdullah Butcher is a phenomenal piece, and very well possible if he had taken on, different characters in different rounds, he could have potentially been on in the last 5, last 6. And Bruiser Brody is going to push forward on to the next round. This battle is going to be a little bit more interesting. Let me kind of tie up this little championship belt here. So I'm not familiar with really either one of these characters. This one is Jimmy Gavin. Is it Jimmy Gavin? Jimmy Garvin? Jimmy Garvin. So they took a Bruce Beefcake figure on this one. It looks like, again, I mentioned before, it looks like they put Hillbilly Jim's head on it. If that's a good representation, I'm not too familiar with the character again. I don't know if I've seen any of his matches. I could be wrong. But I guess he worked out of the Texas region. As you can see, the little Texas Championship belt on here fits beautifully. The color scheme is fantastic. You don't think of, pink on a grown man, really meshing well. But I mean, look at the heart foundation. Even the, I guess, pinkish red, more purple, I guess, that you see on Bruce Beefcake. They all fit really well. So the glittery, sparkly design of the pants, I think that it just kind of makes it really pop and makes it a really beautiful figure. And overall, with some of the accessories you add to it, incredible piece. I don't see how this can't possibly move forward. But alas, Jimmy Garvin is going against the great Muta. And from what I've learned from my buddy Eric, is that Muta actually did win championships in several different regions. I think WWF was one. Maybe, let's just say, WCW possibly. Um, Back in Japan, I guess, would be another. So he has a lot of championship belts to kind of match, the different regions he's been a part of, the different programs. Yeah, and this is just a great figure. I can't read any of his writing on the pants. Hopefully, it says something pretty remarkable. And like Sting, he does have one of the best face paints on of any of the customs I purchased. Absolutely love it. I don't know if I would have used Ricky Steamboat. I mean, they did change the pose a little bit so that the hands aren't so high up. But, I mean, otherwise, yeah, it's resin. But it's just a perfect, fantastic figure for display. Absolutely love this one. I really don't want to see either one of these figures go. I don't necessarily think it's going to be as tough a decision as the previous battle. But it is something where you putting together two great pieces and making a choice which nobody really wants to make. It's a tough decision, but I am going with Jimmy Garvin for this battle, and Jimmy Garvin will be going to round 3. Now, as I've stated, I have 3 figures left for round 2. And since I don't have a fourth to match them up equally, I will be putting them through all simultaneously. So the first one, what we'll talk about, is the Ric Flair figure. I kept seeing Tito Santana every time I looked at that figure, so I didn't pull, I didn't purchase this one as quickly as I would have liked. But I did eventually, cave because, again, when it comes to Wrestling Writer, best eye in the business for LJN figures, and and I try to get as much from him as I can. And Ric Flair, not the worst and not the best, but I mean, it is Ric Flair nonetheless. Because of how many championship belts he has, I just wish they would have done something with the arms, kind of put him up a little bit higher. Now, I don't like the Jesse Body Ventura, hands out pose. But I mean, for something like that, because of the excessive amount of belts, if you had done that to both arms, that way the belts kind of stay to the arms as needed. For display purposes, that would have been a whole lot better. And with the hands down, I mean, it doesn't make it a great fighting pose either. So even if you wanted to use this rubber figure for play, you wouldn't. But decent figure. Don't really see any major blemishes or anything on him. Not like this thing that was kind of crooked a little bit, but I mean, like I said, it was a great figure. So I'm not gonna hash on it for too long. It's a really good Ric Flair figure. Definitely better than some of the figures Ric Flair wise that I've seen. Hasbro, you watching? The next one is a British Bulldog, kind of cartoony in the face a little bit. If it was just like a, I don't know, 3D print or something, they could have made this an absolutely perfect figure. But I'm a decent pose. Again, you're not going to use this fighting, not the way that, the dog is kind of, dangling from the hand, which I love that. You don't risk losing the figure. although you do risk potentially damaging it at some point if it does break out of the hand. Color-wise, this is exactly the British Bulldog I grew up watching. This is the one I know of. You know, the red pants tag team of the British Bulldogs was not something I was, familiar with, not until I started collecting LJNs. But this is a beautiful, beautiful piece. The British Bulldog. And of course, the third member of this competition, of this battle, it comes from Kevin at Print Fury. So I purchased 2 Earthquakes from him. They're both resin figures. I bought a blue, Shark Earthquake version and the red Earthquake as well. Because the blue Earthquake is the one that I'm more familiar with, even though I'm pretty familiar with both versions as a matter of fact, but the blue is always kind of like the standout for me when it comes to Earthquake. When I think red, I'm thinking more Typhoon than Earthquake, but so blue Earthquake did defeat red Earthquake in round 1. And as far as 3D molds, 3D prints go, I mean, that is a perfect rendition of Earthquake. And, good weight to the figure. It's its own body type. Again, because it's resin, it detracts a little bit from the overall quality. I wish you could use this something as play. But again, I mean, adult collector, I'm not going to use this for play. This is going to sit on a shelf. I'm going to be able to stare at it and enjoy it. Kind of like, going to a museum or something. I mean, these are just beautiful, beautiful pieces. So, as much as I like all 3 of these figures, I think I have to at least say goodbye to Ric Flair. Ric Flair will not be moving forward to round 3. So I think that one, as far as choosing one of the 3, I don't want to say it was an easy choice, but when it compares to the other 2 figures, I don't think Ric Flair had much of a chance. Again, so we're left to, do we like the accessory built on the British Bulldog, or do we like the actual facial representation, which is more realistic on Earthquake? You cannot go wrong with either figure. They're both incredible. Print Fury, like I said, 2 figures I bought from Kevin so far, both Earthquakes. If this one, eliminated the other one right off the bat, if this one goes, Print Fury, their figures are gone. Which I'm pretty sure a lot of the XOX Customs by Random Treasures, I'm pretty sure they use Kevin at Print Fury for a lot of their modes or 3D prints as well. So I mean, I really can't say he's out of the competition per se, but this was an individual purchases from his shop. This wasn't Random Treasures or anything. 2 fantastic pieces. I love them both. I really love this Earthquake, but I'm putting him down. And the British Bulldog, from a good man, John, you're still in the competition, brother. Alright, so that will take care of round 2. And I don't know, I think I'm going to keep going, at least make at least one more video before I, post these, and possibly maybe make 2 more videos. Normally I try to keep these around 20 minutes. I've been going closer to 30 with these last couple rounds, but I mean, some of them just absolutely deserve to talk about a little bit more than normal. It can't be, better pose, better color, bam, this guy wins. It can't be that simple. Alright guys, I'm going to end the video here, and thank you for watching, and I will be back shortly. I am going to do another quick video, and probably post all 3 of them from this morning, and that way they're up and ready for your review. Alright guys, thanks again. Talk to you soon.